afternoon. My name is Astrid Sørensen. I work for Equinor, and I've also been on the board of directors of OSRL for the past 5 years and as the chair for the last 2. 2020 has been a challenging year for many companies and individuals with the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic disruption that this has caused. It has also been a very challenging environment for the oil and gas industry, with the low oil prices resulting from decline in demand, together with the ongoing change in energy mix to address global warming. These factors has driven many of the OSRL member companies to restructure their businesses, delivering further efficiencies and cost reductions. Your board and OSRL's employees are fully aware of these changes, these significant changes, I would say. As a board, we have redirected the OSRL activities to play our part, while at the same time ensure delivering sustainable and robust preparedness and response capabilities in a more efficient and effective way. Our board meetings and the AGM, and now also the EGM, has been run remotely using Microsoft Teams. Our 3 subcommittees of the board, namely the Audit Committee headed by Gianluigi Ferrara, the Remuneration Committee that I chair, and the Swiss Committee that came into being at the end of last year, chaired by Andy Myers, have also met remotely on a regular basis throughout the year. Despite the restrictions that we have faced in the various locations where OSRL works, we have, with the right safeguards in place, delivered and maintained our services, and we have also been response ready throughout the entire period. This video seeks to provide you with information of several of our activities in 2020 and also how we have handled the COVID-19 event. I hope you will find it informative. As a chair, I am proud.
What you are about to watch is brought together by our own OSRL staff using our mobile phones, and we will take you through our unusual journey of 2020. During this pandemic, we continue to stay strong, positive, and resilient, and became more agile and creative the way we engage our members and customers the best we can. Well, not all of us felt completely at ease on camera, but our determination to respond to this crisis of our times shines through. So, let's begin.
With COVID first emerging in late December, and with Singapore's previous experience of the 2003 SARS pandemic, a close watching brief was taken. As COVID started to escalate towards a global pandemic, the crisis management team formally established in February. The business continuity team stood up in March to further support this response. Since being stood up, the crisis management team and business continuity team have been running 2 meetings a week. This continued until a review of activity and process was conducted in late Q3, and the activities transitioned to a living with COVID model, which would provide better long-term sustainability. How have we structured our response? We set our priorities with people first, using the PAIR principles of people, environment, assets, and reputation. Accompanying this, we use worst-case scenarios to guide a prudent overall response. We were proactive because OSRL are acutely aware that in response to the crisis, you can't buy time, and rebuilding lost trust and confidence is both costly and takes time. Therefore, we got big quick, implemented a no-regrets response, and communicated early, clearly, and consistently. We have had 73 crisis management team meetings and 52 business continuity team meetings. We've produced over 100 COVID documents consisting of in excess of 1,000 pages of content. We have delivered over 56 hours of external webinars. There have been in excess of 50 communications to staff, totaling over 14,000 intranet hits, and we have delivered over 20 communications from the crisis management team to members. All of this activity has resulted in over 10,000 external website interactions from over 6,000 unique users. And finally, to further support our response and to ensure our people are protected and supported, we've recorded and monitored over 100,000 staff data points.
An in-flight review was undertaken to the initial reactive phase to COVID-19 at the end of Q2. I asked the crisis management team and business continuity teams a series of questions to draw out any lessons learned. The findings from the review was that the response was proportional, proactive, and people really felt proud of how that initial response was handled. The main areas of success were looking after our people, well-being, generating all of the products and outputs that, such as the readiness dashboard. We also followed our process that was in place and utilised technology. There were areas of improvement that would be inevitable in a crisis. So improving our initial internal communications, having a little bit more situational awareness, looking at team dynamics to really, get us to that 5 out of 5 score for an initial reactive phase to a response. The outcome of that is that we will have to make some procedural and behavioural changes. So updating our processes and documents, incorporating the use of technology into that, and making sure we have the correct emphasis in our messaging. So we've identified those areas. We will also ensure that in any future internal crisis management training, we'll include a piece on mindset so that we can strengthen delegation, build trust, look to remain task focused and reduce any potential for groupthink and set expectations for accountability. This sounds like quite a lot, but we know what's needed for a robust crisis management team, so we will look to ensure that we do that. Feedback gathered from across the organisation, so outside the CMT and BCT, has led us to implement a series of other changes, including streamlining all of the documentation for COVID-19 that was generated. We've also looked at reducing the cadence of meetings and also the composition of the crisis management and business continuity teams. And as we move forward living with COVID, very much our priority remains with people and our ability to respond. But we will continue to be guided by the worst case scenario because we are living in an uncharted world, and we will also remain proactive, but we will manage that pace and design elegant solutions with that to really drive decision making efficiency. What we've learned from COVID-19 is how to deal with constant unknowns and also a prolonged duration crisis. No one's ever experienced this before, and we've learnt that we need to be deliberate, effective, and look to be really sustainable to reduce any burnout in the future.
We worked with a number of members to put together virtual exercises We used multiple platforms, so from Zoom to Microsoft Teams, and also integrated with other tools such as Web IAP. And from that, we learned a lot of really interesting lessons. And that's been our focus, really, is that managing our response readiness to make sure we're able to support our members no matter what type of exercise or spill might come in. How do we actually manage that virtual IMT is really key. And what we're starting to see now is a lot of our members are putting in additional roles into the ICS process, so to help manage that communication flow and also the IT related issues. Inevitably, oil doesn't clean itself up. We can have a virtual IMT, which is great for managing the high level response, but if we want to get oil off the beach, we need to put boots on the ground. So that means we're inevitably going to have a combination of real world response and virtual IMT. So that interface between those two is really key for us to manage, because that's a particular risk where we could inadvertently have the real world team working in isolation without communicating back through the IMT. So that's a key bit, and a lot of people referring to that as a hybrid response at the moment.
There's an assurance exercise in terms of phase 1 to 3 were developed in the phase approach to allow different drill elements of the COVID-19 procedures to be tested, and also refined to a stepwise manner with a final step to include in-field deployments. We start off with having to do the routine work in base, so doing the loading, unloading of equipment in base, getting familiarized with all the forklift and the reach trucks that we're going to use to mobilize the equipment. So to build on to the second stage, that we have a dry run even on the vessels. The Southamptons have focused on the shoreline, while Singapore is having on the offshore. So our second stage involved in doing a dry run on our existing O3. That gives us I would say that a slow startup to really to set the scenes to work offshore, of taking the lessons learned into the stage 3, that we have to engage external VOOs to do the field deployment.
Greetings. My name is Elmer Emmerich. I'm one of the duty managers out of 4 assigned here at the office of Fort Lauderdale for the Americas region. We are under the leadership of Matt Siemens, our ops manager, and here in Florida, and also we have our regional manager in Houston, Michael Roldan. The response perspective for the Americas region, we have some very good news. I will say very good news. While we had incidents, our members have not had to mobilize us. Regardless, we continue to maintain a total readiness. A couple of incidents in which have assisted remotely, such as the tropical storm Isaiah threatening the Bahamas earlier this year. We also have something ongoing right now with the FSO Naparima of the coast of Venezuela that continues to garner international interest. In response to this incident, we have maintained close engagement with international parties. Furthermore, throughout the year, we have maintained frequent engagement with our members throughout the Americas. This is all hands on deck. Effort office from Fort Lauderdale, our office from Brazil, our office from Houston. For one, while COVID has decreased our face-to-face meeting, which is something that we really like and something that our members like, it has prompted video meeting with greater number of members, as well as greater number of people within each member. It seems that a positive of using virtual platform, we reach more business unit. For example, a lot of our upper management, when we visit our countries down in South America, we notice that our business unit doesn't know a lot of the things that we can do for them, i.e. 5-on-5. This is just going crazy. The information is just going all the way down to the business unit. It's been a lot of great questions. It's just been a very positive thing. In closing, I will say that great engagement in 2020 has allowed us to be better prepared. And I think it's because we reach more government entities. You know, I can tell you in a lot of these countries that we have participated in different exercises and training, like in Panama, Mexico, Argentina, a lot of the government has participated, which is very, very good too. We also have a lot of local providers have been able to participate, in addition to our members. So this is like multiplying. So it's been very, very good, our engagement and our information to be disseminated down to a lot of people. All this is via webinars. We do training, deliveries. We have done phone calls for clarify anything. We have done annual preparedness review, and we have done a lot of exercises. What I want to tell you is call us. We want to know you. We want you to know us, and it's never a lot of exercises. Please call us. We want to maintain that relationship, and we want to be prepared and ready, and we don't want to have no spills. Thank you.
One of our key achievements in 2020 was the successful completion of the Fly to No Icing project, FICI. The FICI project entailed modifications to the Tersa spray boom and Tersa's nozzles to alleviate the restriction of fly to no icing. The removal of the FICI limitation to the Tersa spray boom is a significant enhancement, ensuring that the aircraft can carry out dispersant spray missions almost anywhere in the world. Having completed the Fly to No Icing project, a second project was then initiated to validate the design of the Tersa spray nozzles. The exercise required extensive engagement with 2XL, the Royal Air Force and the Ministry of Defence to utilise the facilities of RAF Valley in Holyhead. The results of IMBA showed a significant increase in droplet size percentage and an improved swath width of the Tersa system.
Wildlife response has been identified by the board as one of the strategic priorities for the years ahead, and this year the board endorsed a 5-year wildlife strategy to guide our efforts. The strategy is designed around 4 strategic aims: to expand understanding, facilitate collaboration, enhance preparedness, and improve wildlife response capability. To achieve this, we're planning to build on the 15-year strong collaboration we have with Sea Alarm as our wildlife technical advisors, and we're also hoping to stand up a supplementary wildlife service, provided there's enough interest from our members. The Global Wildlife Response Service, or GWAS, is a wildlife assessment team, which is a 4-person hands-on team of experts delivered collectively by some of the world's leading wildlife response organisations. Not only will it be on call for response and available to participate in member exercises, but the service also helps to provide resilience to the wildlife response community by providing sustained funding to support some of the animal organisations that exist to care for wildlife in emergencies. It's an exciting time for wildlife response preparedness, especially in terms of integration into industry systems, and I really look forward to working with you all in the years ahead and hopefully to seeing you in person sometime.
This year has been a busy year despite the pandemic. While our key objective was to maintain our focus on safe operations and equipment response readiness, outreach, member engagement, and developing suites for our members remained important. The pandemic created extra challenge for our membership engagement. We did manage to hold a face-to-face staff meeting before lockdowns around the world really took hold. As the pandemic spread, like all organizations, we transitioned to remote working held several one-to-one virtual sessions with members, and offered webinars to our members and the wider oil spill community. We have strengthened the Swiss team in 2020, welcoming Mario Fazio and Mark Cochran to the team in roles focusing on outreach, engagement, and development of our Swiss preparedness services. We continually work to find ways to deliver more value to our members, and even though this year was unique in many ways, it did not prevent us from continuing these initiatives. The water column monitoring equipment was officially handed over from BP to complement the Swiss inventory early in the year, and it's now stored at Trendsetter's airport facility in Houston. It's accessible to all members with no extra membership cost. We expanded the Global Subsea Response Network, GSRN, signed a strategic alliance with Wild Well Control. Both companies agreed to work together to provide subscribers access to the combined expertise of OSRL and Wild Well Control in terms of planning, exercises, and response to subsea source control incidents. The pandemic came with no advice and imposed hurdles unimagined before. This was particularly relevant when it came to our Swiss maintenance program. With hard work and significant planning, this was completed successfully through all Swiss bases around the world.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Gipper with CSA Ocean Sciences. We're here at the Trendsetter facility in Houston, Texas, and this is the water column monitoring kit. We have the monster recovery system, the LARS with a winch and A-frame, which we'll put into the water, this rosette here with the CTD on the bottom of the rosette. We have two containers part of this kit, the operations container and then the laboratory container. The laboratory container houses the stainless steel workbenches, as well as laboratory PPE and monitoring equipment for air quality, as well as presence-absence of hydrocarbons and water samples. In here we also have the refrigerators to keep our samples, when collected, preserved before shipment. And we have a fume hood in here for health and safety when handling chemicals. As you can see, we also have an eye wash station, AED, and fire extinguisher with emergency exit.
In October this year, the intervention upgrade was successfully completed on the Osprey capping device. The upgrade has increased the functionality of the equipment by introducing direct intervention capability. The capping device can now be connected to a surface vessel, allowing well kill or flowback operations to take place. Connection is via a subsea skid or by direct connection to a vessel. The equipment has been fully tested and remains in a response-ready condition. There's also work underway to provide a sea fastening solution that would help reduce mobilisation time in case of an incident. So it really demonstrates the continued investment in the Osprey service and commitment by our subscribers to OSRL's subsea well response capabilities in the UK continental shelf.
And the new business model aims to make Swiss equipment and services more widely accessible through a large reduction in annual fees, and provide, as far as possible, a comprehensive turnkey solution for subsea well response. OSRL and the Global Subsea Response Network will also be able to provide integrated planning services, which includes things like source control emergency response plan development, exercise and drill development and facilitation. With Mark Cochran in the UK, previously from Shell, and myself, Mario Fazio, in Australia, previously with ConocoPhillips, and together we'll support subscribers in the East and Western hemispheres.
This year we have continued to provide preparedness services for our members, from oil spill modelling, sensitivity mapping, oil spill contingency planning, and also tactical response plans and capability reviews using in-country expertise and drone footage. We have continued to provide secondment services, both remote and in-country, for essential operations and maintenance. We have transformed a number of our training courses to be able to deliver them remotely and remain accredited by the Nautical Institute. We appreciate how important it is that these courses remain interactive and engaging. Where we haven't been able to conduct practical deployments, we have come up with innovative solutions, such as our SCAT course.
Although we could not run away from the limitations of remote environment, we made sure we maintain high-quality learning experience as our golden rule. We designed virtual tasks, bringing on experts to promote conversation, and even call from a beach to do a virtual shoreline survey. In the beginning, it wasn't easy to handle the tricks of the apps, like annotation, pooling, and breakout rooms. But once you get the hang of it, it feels like doing a conventional face-to-face delivery again. I'm very proud of the feedback we get about the interactivity of our training. Some of them mentioned they are well engaged, even if they have to join in the middle of the night or even early in the morning. Well, international travel may need to pause for a while, but learning have to continue.
We were approached by one of those operators in the summer to deliver an OPEC-free course. At the time, Aberdeen was in the amber state when it comes to the OSRL status. So with the correct mitigations in place, method statements, risk assessments, PPE obviously is a last resort in place, we were able to deliver that training face-to-face. The operator provided their IMT room, which is quite a large room, had separate access and exit and entry points, if you like. So we could put a one-way system in place. There was lots of room in there for different people. We were only training 4 people on this course, and myself and Lucy went as the trainers. So 6 people in the room, so lots of room for social distancing. On arrival at the site, we both arrived, myself and Lucy arrived in separate cars. We checked in separately, and we were guided to the room separately. And throughout the 3-day course, we maintained the 2-metre social distancing between ourselves and obviously the delegates as well. The way we did that was we delivered the training from one computer as we would normally would, one laptop set up to deliver the PowerPoint presentations onto a big screen, but we had separate clickers, so only one person actually needed to go and operate the computer at any one time. We obviously, when we arrived with our own PPE. We had face masks, we had our hand gels, gloves and things like that with us, but we were also given a safety pack, if you like, by the operator, which included the same things, and a few other little bits of extras as well, including a pen that you could operate the coffee machine in without actually touching the coffee machine, which was actually quite vital when you're delivering a 3-day course, that you can get your coffee safely. Some of the challenges, 3 days in a classroom, people do become a little bit familiar and maybe get a little bit relaxed, so we had to be, all of us in the room, not just the trainers, but all of us in the room had to be quite alert to keeping an eye on other people and looking after each other. A couple of occasions where people did get up and start to walk towards other people to pass bits of paper or pass information over, and we had to sort of stop them and say, oh, sorry, let's not do that. And everybody accepted that in the way it was intended. Delivering a 3-day course is quite intense anyway. It's quite a full-on experience because you've obviously got a lot of information to get across. Add to that the fact that there's COVID in the background. You've got to be constantly aware of the COVID situation in the background. Makes it quite, as I said, even more intense 3 days for the trainers. So at the end of that 3 days, both myself and Lucy were quite drained. At the end of that 3 days, it tied in with the day that Aberdeen went into highest level of alert, but we actually literally finished the training about an hour before that raised level came into force. So we managed to finish the training I think about 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, and I think it was 5 o'clock that the alert level went up. So good timing for us there. So yeah, all in all, great experience. The operators benefited from it. We benefited from delivering it. Great experience.
A key challenge this year has been, of course, the constraint of traveling to the project area. And in order to overcome this challenge, in one of the projects, we hired a local company that could mobilize to the location and gather the information that we needed. We gave them a very specific checklist, and they also used drones to videotape and take pictures of the area. This also had its own challenges, as one of the members of this company tested positive for coronavirus and had to be in quarantine for 14 days. Thankfully, he didn't have any symptoms and he is okay. This delayed a little bit the field work, but at the end we were able to complete the project on time without any further incident.
During the first part of lockdown in the UK and unable to work on base, our focus within equipment hire was concentrated on developing ways in which to enhance the service we provide. To name but a few, these include developing fault-finding cards to assist personnel responsible for the day-to-day upkeep of the equipment, review of various documents and processes including hydraulic systems and OWIs, developing training material to aid virtual training. Once the essential return to base processes and procedures were put in place and method statements approved, the team was successfully able to build and dispatch 4 separate equipment hire packages with combined efforts from both Southampton and Singapore teams. We have successfully delivered equipment training both virtually and face-to-face in 2020, with the team having just returned from offshore training in Suriname. We are also continuing to assist clients with equipment maintenance, including face-to-face visits to locations such as West Africa. Our dedicated team is committed to going above and beyond to fulfil our clients' requirements. We have 18 equipment contracts with 11 different customers, delivering equipment and maintenance programs globally, 4 of which have been dispatched in the last 3 months, demonstrating our ability to continue to support our clients in these unprecedented times.
Of course, it was a challenging moment because with this COVID-19 restriction, we are working with 50% less than what we could have in the normal period. But however, we as a team, we work together. The response team, they put together packages in a timely manner. So it was a very good achievement so we managed to deliver about 3 big equipment hire projects along so far this year. 2 of the projects that needed the equipment within 2 weeks time. So we just have to get everything prepared within those 2 weeks time frame with all the COVID-19 safety measurement in place. As a team, we sat down together, we agreed what the necessary steps that we need to undertake, but we made a commitment that we want to make it happen.
Without location, many decisions are impossible to make. Without the knowledge of where something is happening, where something was collected, the data is useless. And leveraging location technology is something that OSRL's partners Esri, as of September, know inside and out. This year I have taken a group of responders and given them the tools and the training and the opportunity to revolutionize their workflows. We've looked at safety issues, from gas monitor reading and collecting gas monitor readings, to shoreline assessments, to the way in which OSRL initially handles a call in the event of a spill or an exercise. I've looked at safety, I've looked at communicating information in easily accessible ways through our website, the dashboard that's now live on the website. And I'm continuing to leverage these tools. The tools we are leveraging and the partnerships we're evolving means that static PDF reports sent through emails may be a thing of the past, or maybe just a system of record. Where the data that's held in those reports becomes powerful is when you engage with it, when you interact with it, when you can see it in the context of all the other data. And for that, this partnership with Esri and this evolution of how we're collecting data, transmitting data, and visualizing data will make decisions better and faster. Going forward in 2021 and beyond, I want to bring you these tools. I want to let you engage with them, let you feedback with them, let you embrace them or evolve them as they are needed. It's time we start leveraging it for oil spill preparedness and response.
In IT and oil spill this year, we've had a really strong year. This strength has come through from us having platforms in place that enabled us to support the business transitioning to the agile working. Last year to a new global IT support partner, giving us the confidence that we'd be able to support users wherever they were. We also already are set up for agile working with robust and modern laptop equipment, a good networking platform, and also the connection we have to our network through the VPN tech. Finally, we had in place already our Office 365 suite. We transitioned to that a couple of years ago, but last year we hired Rob Zara as our Office 365 application specialist to help the users on their journey to embed the usage in their day-to-day working.
Well, it's been busy, but I feel very proud that I played my part in supporting colleagues, particularly during the first few months of lockdown, when everyone was still getting used to a new way of working. A lot of credit should go to all our colleagues. They basically shown immense digital bravery and embraced IT to help resolve the challenges they encountered. The adoption of Microsoft Teams, for instance, was quite remarkable.
So our cyber agenda has remained strong. In fact, we increased it this year by doubling our phishing tests that we did. We introduced a new training platform to support the existing one. And we've also increased our communication. We also had underway three significant projects that help bolster our cyber and information security. And these projects remained in our strategy for this year with the full support of the ET. And those projects have progressed well under the leadership of our colleague, Carl Appleby. So I feel we're in a really strong place now, moving forward to support the business into the next phase of agile working.
Staying connected with our members and wider stakeholders has been more important than ever. The challenges of working in the remote and virtual worlds in which we now live has called for new ways of thinking and different methods of delivery. The annual preparedness review has remained a cornerstone of the service level agreement and a primary means of engagement with our members. The transition to virtual delivery has enabled better use of the subject matter experts in our bases, and their inclusion in the APR has meant that we can provide a better experience for our members whilst also reducing our carbon footprint. Another outcome, a first for OSRL, has been the recording of a series of podcasts with guest contributor John Lay, which examined how the global pandemic crisis was managed and the complexities of second and third order consequences. Thought leadership articles have been another way of tapping into the organisation's experience and talent to create content designed to stimulate debate and challenge common thinking on some of the biggest questions in our field. 2021 may bring uncertainties, but we're thinking of more intuitive ways to build on what we've already achieved and to remain connected with our members and stakeholders.
In these constrained times, we think it's more important than ever that we maintain engagement with our members and stakeholders, many of whom, like us, are working from home. This year, we've gone all out to embrace webinars as a primary means to engage, and we've delivered around 30 on a wide range of topics covering things like waste management, response in a pandemic, wildlife response, response readiness, regional interest topics, and a whole range of others. Our audience includes our members, first and foremost, international and regional stakeholders, and the wider public at large. We try and vary the format, the speakers, and make them as interactive as the platforms will allow, using panel sessions, Q&As, and some language variants as well. We've also taken opportunities to partner up with like-minded stakeholder organisations to co-deliver content. Examples include the Global Initiative for West, Central and Southern Africa, where we've provided expert contributors to a series of oil spill preparedness and response technical topics. And we've also been working with Navigate Response, specifically on a crisis management themed webinar. Where possible, we've sought to reflect the discussion internally, and OSRL staff can join any of these external webinars as participants to contribute to the discussion. External experts are also invited to deliver to OSRL's global staff audience through our Lockdown Learning initiative to educate and inspire our staff. I've heard suggestions of webinar fatigue as we go on into this pandemic crisis, but we're not seeing that. I think demand is still very high, and it's certainly our plan as we go into next year to continue this really positive engagement.
One of the key focus areas for shipping engagement in 2020 has been that of LNG ESTS. We have approached our participant members to try and establish the level of appetite for such a service, as there doesn't seem to be one available on the open market on a guaranteed response basis. Most that are offered are on best endeavours and work alongside a commercial set of equipment. Another area that we are focused on this year has been the P&I clubs, and the international group in particular. We've always had a good working relationship with the international group, but have never really been at the forefront of their minds when it comes to the beginning of a response. So to that end, we've produced an A4 flyer, a service document that allows their claims handlers at a glance to contact our duty managers and start the process rolling. Skald has put that on their intranet, and we currently are in conversation with several other of the big P&I clubs to allow us to get that on their intranet as well.
So 2020 has been a hugely challenging year for many. It's never been more important to look after our own well-being and also to look out for each other. So in March, when the lockdown occurred, particularly in the UK, we responded by going into a reactive phase really and creating a well-being team which worked hard to get resources and support to those people that need it. And gradually over the year, we've transitioned into more of a proactive phase with our well-being provision. And we now have a fully global team who are on hand to support people and to again signpost people to any wellness resources that they need. So through the Global Wellbeing team, we've run a lot of initiatives, some of them being a series of webinars. We've run a mental skills training program for how do we perform under pressure. That's actually by the New Zealand All Blacks, it's their package, and we just changed some of that to help people to cope with pressure. We've also run webinars on positive mental health with a chap called Matt Holman, again helping people to think about how do you stay happy, healthy and look after each other. Continue to monitor our staff, so every 2 weeks we run a mental health survey, and off the back of that survey either the HR business partners or myself will check in with any individual who just needs a little bit of support, and of course we will help to signpost people to professional services as if they need that. So we continue to work really hard and ensuring that we keep the OSRL culture going strong, because we have a high caring culture and we continue to look after people as best we can.
To adopt a holistic approach to employee well-being, Oilspill Response has an active well-being team that develops and drives regional initiatives that are both country and cultural sensitive, using local experts where possible to help to engage employees. The American team held a 4-week of walking challenge with different selected partners each week while playing a 2 truth and a lie game. By so doing, they promote bonding and physical activities as well as camaraderie. They also celebrated International Coffee Day with an email suggesting a 5-minute coffee break call using Team Meet. APAC focused on mental wellness by encouraging staff to venture outdoor for a change of scenery after the lockdown. Staff are invited to share a picture of anything that tells a story about themselves. For the EMEA region, they focus on physical well-being with a 25 for 25 challenge, encouraging everyone to take 25 minutes of their day for exercise or physical activities. Participation has been positive. We'll evaluate them in December before progressing to the other well-being teams on social, financial, workplace.
Some weeks ago, the Norway base did a plastic shoreline cleanup on the island of Bru, just outside Stavanger. This was related to the TV campaign A Sea of Opportunities. We collected about 6 large bags full of plastic in a few hours. We all know that plastic in the sea is a big problem all over the world, and everyone must contribute to taking care of the sea. I'm glad OSRL can be involved, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
In closing this 2020 report of activity, I would like to say thank you to all the OSRL employees for their tremendous efforts to ensure we remain response ready and continuing to engage with members and other stakeholders during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. I would also like to add a special mention to the marketing and communications team for the great work they have done in putting together this comprehensive video report. As we have seen in the video, remaining response ready in a COVID-19 world requires detailed planning, diligence, and careful oversight during execution. To achieve this, we have leveraged off the expertise of our business continuity and crisis management teams, and I would like to thank them for their professionalism and dedication in executing their activities. I would also like to thank your board of directors for their support and guidance. And lastly, I would like to thank you, the members, and other stakeholders for staying engaged during an unprecedented and very challenging time for all those associated with the oil and gas industry. Much work is still to be done, and all of us at OSRL would like to encourage you to continue including us in your exercises and other activities. OSRL is your company, and we are here to help in any way we can. Stay safe, and I look forward to the day, hopefully in the not too distant future, when it is safe for us to meet again in person.